Well, what's up, people? Another episode. I know you guys are enjoying this. I'm enjoying making them. The old school versus new school thought process. And we're going to go way old school. We're going to go to fiction land, okay, for this one. But before we do, say hello to my little Rocky shirt here. I love this one. I don't know. It fits nice, whatever. Got the Italian stallion on there. Contenders at the bottom. If you want a shirt like this one, you can go to contendersclothing.com if you're into Karate Kid, if you're into Muhammad Ali, or if you're into the new Cobra Kai series. There's a whole bunch of cool stuff on there. Use promo code KidPoker20. Save yourself 20% off. I'm not going to get rich off that, people, but I really like the stuff, okay? Good quality. If you're like me, you know, you're from that era, you know, I have a nice nostalgia for them, and the shirts fit well, and the underwears are very comfortable. I'm an exclusive Contenders Clothing underwear user right now. All right. Let's talk about a hand, a very famous hand between two private game players back in the day, back in the late 90s. We're going all the way back. You're going to see some interesting bet sizes. We're talking about Teddy KGB and, of course, Mr. McDermott, Mikey from Rounders. Okay, so this is the big heads-up duel that they play. This is the rematch, and we're going to do the breakdown. Old school, and then we're going to do new school. We're going to give this a try. This one's going to be a little more difficult than what we've done because, you know, obviously for movies, they do some things that are a little weird, and you see some bet size, and you're like, what? But I'll tell you what, outside of one of the bets, everything makes sense. All right, old school style. Do this to just get myself centered. All right, blinds are 50 and 100. Playing pretty deep stacked here.
Hanging around. Kid's got alligator blood. Can't get rid of him.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm double the blind.
Okay. I call.
All right, so as you know, sometimes in movies they do things a little weird, you know, movie magic. When you watch a normal heads-up, you know, match, you see the buttons. The small blind and the big blind is the big blind. The big blind is the player out of position. You know what I'm saying, right? Well, in this one, in movies, you know, you see the scene where it's kind of confusing. We tried to like look at it real closely, and we're going to try to make the best of it. But it's like, I don't know, does Teddy limp? And then Mikey says, double the blinds. And then he says, okay. Does that mean he raised? Or does that mean they just kicked up the stakes, right? We don't know for sure. But for this hand breakdown, we're doing it the old school way first anyway. It doesn't matter all that much. We're going to say there's 400 in the pot, okay? 400 in the pot because it went, you know, Teddy limped, Mikey checked, or whatever, okay? I got to do the best I got to do with TV stuff, right?
Check.
$2,000.
All right, I'll call the $2,000. I'll gamble. Don't splash the pot.
You're on a draw, Mike? Go away. This one is not good for you. And in my club, I will splash the pot whenever the fuck I please.
Okay.
So now the flop comes 6, 7, 10. And our boy Mikey flopped the joint. Now, if I'm sitting here and I'm Mikey, I'm thinking, all right, well, Teddy's an aggressive player. You know, he likes to bet real big and stuff. So I flopped the joint. Let's check, right? I don't want to give away the strength of my hand by just betting. So I check, right? Now Teddy goes bonkers and bets 2,000. So he's like way over betting the pot. Right? There's only 400 in there. Thinking, wow, should I get it all in now, or just let freaking KGB hang himself, right? I don't know. My hand's too good. I'll just call. I'm not worried about nothing, right? 6, 7, 10. It's a rainbow flop. Nothing's going to scare me, so I just call.
I'm going to check, Daddy.
That's right. Big Daddy. Bets the pot.
It's 4,400. All right, I'm going to call you, or else I won't respect myself tomorrow morning.
Respect is all you have left in the morning.
Now the turn card's deuce of clubs, beautiful, you know, absolutely like no flush draw. There's nothing to worry about at all. I go ahead and check again, you know, with the nuts. And now Teddy bets 4,400. He bets the full pot, okay? So against the full pot, he's saying like, I got a really good hand here. But again, I don't know. I don't feel like I need to raise him, right? If he's got a really good hand, he'll just bet for me on the river. And if he's bluffing, we let him bluff. So I just call, or if I'm Mikey, right? Now the pot's 13-2.
Last card coming.
Check.
It hurts, doesn't it? You can't believe what fell. All your dreams just hops down the fucking drain. Your fate is sitting right beside you. That ace could not have helped you. I bet it all.
You're right, Teddy. The ace didn't help me. I flopped the nut straight.
Motherfucker! You fool your nut! Motherfucker! That is it!
That's it. What the fuck you talking about? That's it. Take it back, Teddy.
Yet! No more! No, not tonight! This son of bitch all night, he chick. He trapped me!
Well, you feeling satisfied now, Teddy? Because I can go on busting you up all night.
Yet. He beat me. Straight up. Pay him. Pay that man his money.
River's just the ace of spades, of course, for dramatic effect, you know. At this point, there's no point in betting, right? Like, you don't just lead. You're not just going to bet at the ace. I'm just going to check and hope that either A, you know, Teddy's got like a set, or he's got aces up, or he's, you know, he hit the ace himself and he's going to value bet. So I check once again, and Teddy moves all in. So really, he moves all in for 23-9. So he like overbets the river. There's 13K in the pot. He bets 23-9. So if I'm Mike, all I'm thinking about is Vegas and the Mirage right now, right? Cha-ching. We got him. We got Teddy KGB. But I would also be thinking about grandma. I'd be concerned about getting out of there with the money. I'd be concerned about not my crazy freaking girlfriend, because she sucks, okay? I love that movie, and she's my least favorite character in pretty much any film. It's like the guy was cheating on her or some gangbanger. All he was doing is playing a little poker. He brought home a little gangster role. You should be happy for him. Jeez, good riddance. As Edward Norton said, or Worm said, it's like, let's go to Vegas and play some cards, you know? So that's the best I can do there with a little old school analysis, okay? And we're going to try to do this one with the new school thought process in mind. All right. So again, new school, again, we're going to have to sort of fudge the pre-flop because who the hell knows what happened there. Looked like limp, which is okay. Let's say he plays like Helmuth and he's a limper. Fine. That's Teddy KGB style. Makes sense that he would do that, right? All right, so now we're in the big blind with the 8-9 of spades. Flop the joint. We're not really going to have a leading range too often here, especially against the player who limps a lot. You know, we've talked about this a little bit if you've watched some of my videos against Helmuth. When someone limps a high percentage of the time, and we're going to assume here that KGB does, then they have a stronger range than you do, right? If you assume that they're limping with like some aces, kings, queens, and ace-king, and you would be raising all those hands from the big blind. If you eliminate those from your range and they're still in your opponent's range, then your opponent's going to have a stronger range. And when that's the case, you generally want to check, okay? So sure, you can bet here sometime. It just should be low frequency if you are. So check is fine. Now, Teddy makes a play that doesn't make any sense on this board texture. He bets 5x pot. You're not going to see any solvers doing this. You're not going to see this anywhere, especially on a board texture like that where the nuts is clearly defined, right? An overbet like this would make more sense on a disconnected board like 10-7 deuce or 10-4 deuce or king 7-3. But when the board is 6-7-10 and both of you have an equal amount of 8-9s here, right, in this spot because you have all your 8-9s and so does he, then it doesn't make sense to overbet here. You don't have range advantage for that size. Because, again, we talk about polarized betting all the time. Really, really, really good hand or really bad hand, right? If you're betting 2,000, you're saying, like, I have 3 of a kind, I have a straight, and that's pretty, or like 2 pair, or better, right? So that's generally not a board you want to be doing that with because, yeah, you just don't want to do that. And you just don't want to do that ever, pretty much, like, unless you're freaking a bot solver. But, yeah. So anyway, now Mikey just calls here, and I like the just call. There is no flush draw on the board, which makes it more difficult for you if you are check raising this flop to represent bluffs, to have bluffs, right? So if the board was like 10-7-6 with 2 spades or something like that or whatever, you can check raise more often there because now your opponent, when they're calculating the combos of hands you can have, they're thinking about the nutted hands that you do have, and then a whole bunch of draws, right? On a 10-7-6 with, no flush draw, the only real draws you could have is like 8-5, which for an open-ended straight draw, maybe some 4-5 idiot end straight draw kind of stuff, or just bluffing with like a king-8, king-9. But against this size, that's really ambitious, right? To just turn those kind of hands into, or just to decide to bluff against a 5x pot. It's just not really a thing you're going to do. So against 5x pot, what would your bluffing range look like here? I think maybe just 8-5 would be the only hand that like I would put in my bluff range. Maybe 4-5, but I think 4-5 is probably just a fold, right? Just probably a fold. So I think maybe if you had, let's say, for example, 5-8 of diamonds, so you have a backdoor straight flush draw, maybe you have that as a bluff. But it's so difficult. Again, when you're dealing with polarized side, it's so difficult to think of bluffs, right? When people check raise, if you check raise a huge overbet on this flop, you're just going to have a really, really good hand more often, like way more than you're not, right? You're not going to be able to balance that. So when that's the case, you really shouldn't be raising at all, hardly ever, because you can't really have enough bluffs here. If you never have any bluffs here, but maybe 5-8, then you can't really raise here when you have the nuts either. You just have to call. So that's the right play. Good job, Mikey. You did your research, reading who knows what, Doyle's book in the movie. So turns a deuce. That changes nothing. On this card, it makes absolutely 0 sense for Mike to ever lead. Like, don't ever lead this card. It's ridiculous. That just makes no sense whatsoever. You should basically be checking 100% of turn cards here, especially, considering the sizing. Now, we've checked, and Teddy bets pot once again. If we check raise, he's going to continue with the same hand, straights, and he might, depending on our sizing, continue with 2 pairs and sets, but he's going to just get off the hook for all of his bluffs, right? So I think in this case, call is absolutely the best play. Maybe you can sprinkle in a small percentage of check raises, but again, you should check raise here if Teddy bets quarter pot or half pot or 40% pot, maybe 2/3 pot. But when Teddy bets full pot, generally speaking, when someone bets pot or more on turn, you don't have a check raising range. It's very, very difficult, again, as I said, for any human being to balance that. So you're better off just check calling. So again, the size of the bet really does matter. Smaller sizes you can raise, bigger sizes you should be more apt to just flat. Now the river's the ace of spades. Once again, I guess you could sort of make an argument for, no, I think that's stupid, like a blocker bet. I don't know why you would ever do that. Or a big bet, and nothing makes sense as far as betting goes. Teddy's been, using polarizing sizes with his huge overbet on the flop and full pot on the turn. So he's telling you, I've got a really good hand or a really bad hand, right? Well, if he's got a really good hand, he's going to bet for you. If he's got a really bad hand, he's going to fold. But if he's got a really bad hand, he might bet too, right? And if he does, then you leading takes away his opportunity to bluff, unless he's planning to bluff raise. So the best play here is just to check and hope that Teddy's in the top of his range with a hand like a set, or that he's made ace-10, or aces up or something like that, which seems strange to bet that size on that flop. But again, we're in movie land, so a lot of stuff is difficult to assess. So Teddy decides to go all in for an overbet. Of course, once again, Mikey needs to contemplate Mirage, Vegas, the World Series of Poker, all these types of things. But what we don't know, because we never get to see it, is what the heck did Teddy KGB have? Okay? Based on his reaction, right, when you look at Teddy KGB, it appeared like he took a beat right? He was very confident. It did not look like a bluff line that got caught, right? It didn't look like Teddy KGB's like, I'm all in with air. So I'm going to eliminate bluffs based on the physical tells we picked up there, right? So this is where you can use a little bit of game theory in concert with physical reads and eliminate parts of his range. We don't think he has bluffs. So what value did this? It's 3 10s? Yeah. 3 7s, 3 6s. Thing about 3 10s is when you have a 10, when you have all the 10s, generally speaking, if you're going to overbet like a set, you want to have the smaller set because you want your opponent to have top pair. So for example, if you were playing heads up and the flop is king 7-3, right? You can bet bigger with pocket threes than you should be able to bet with pocket kings. Even though pocket kings is the nuts. The problem with having pocket kings is you have 2 of the kings, which block hands that can call you. When you have pocket threes, that's totally outside the realm of the king, right? So that allows more opportunity for combos that can call you, right? So generally speaking, when you have top set, smaller bets, some slow playing, a little bit more. Bottom set is a hand that you can play faster and use bigger sizing for the most part. So because he used bigger sizing, I'm going to say, let's say we're going to say Teddy KGB, he's an accomplished player. We're going to say he doesn't have pocket 10s. He limped. I guess he's limping. I'm going to give him like, if he had aces, he's kind of overplaying that. But he did jam the river for an overbet. So I'm just going to say that the only hand that makes sense for Teddy to have here is a set. And which set? 6s, 7s, or aces? He did say that card could not have helped you. Does that mean that it helped him? Or that just because, it didn't complete any sort of draw, which wasn't really present anyway? Let's just go with a guess, right? We're going to go with a read. And I'm going to say that Teddy KGB was slow playing aces pre-flop, okay? And he hit his man on the river, drawing completely dead, and lost with the second nuts. Because that's how movies work. Royal flush versus 4 aces. Nut straight versus top set. That's just movie land. So we're going to go with Teddy KGB had 3 aces and, frankly, misplayed them, right? Because you got to figure, when Mike calls this flop for 5x, right? What the hell does he have? He didn't have no draw. Come on, bro. He's got a straight a lot here. And you have no 8 or 9 to block that because you got 3 aces, and that's what we're giving you. So poor overplay there from Teddy KGB. And Mikey gets to go to Vegas with a bag full of money and an opportunity to meet a new woman, which is worth its price in gold, right? Because everybody knows what it's like to be in a bad relationship, or most of us do. And then you find gold like I did with my wife. Woo! Blessed. # blessed. Anyways, y'all, hope you enjoyed that little goofy breakdown of a hand from every poker player's favorite movie, Rounders.